sorry. What? Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jalen, and I got in the mail about like 5 minutes ago my most anticipated read of 2021. I mean, can we just be honest? Like, this isn't gonna change. This is gonna be always my most anticipated book every year until Cassandra Clare decides she's going to stop releasing books, and that is drum roll. Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the second installment in her Last Hours trilogy. It takes place after the Infernal Devices. Last year, Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare came out. I have a whole video on YouTube. I'm going to put it up in the cards above so that you can go and watch it if you're interested. I would highly recommend that you read this book before you read this, because that only makes sense in like a series type thing. But yes, I also recommend that you read the Infernal Devices, which is the prequel series to this trilogy. Cassandra Clare herself said that you don't have to read that trilogy first, but like I said, I highly recommend it just because it makes a lot of sense and it helps you really get a lot of context for what's going on in the world. And so this is the first book. This is the second book. This came out March 2nd, 2021. For me right now, that was yesterday. I'm really excited to have this book. I have been reading the Shadowhunter books since middle school. I started with The Mortal Instruments, and then I read The Infernal Devices, then I read The Dark Artifices. I have some of like the little like novellas in between. Anyways, all that to say is that I have been in this world reading these books for a very long time, and so this was something that I was really looking forward to reading. I'm super excited to get into it. If you have read Chain of Gold, if you are thinking about reading Chain of Iron, keep watching this video. If you're currently reading Chain of Iron, watch this video. If you have read Chain of Iron, watch this video so we can talk all about our thoughts. I'm really excited. I gave Chain of Gold last year 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So I'm really expecting big things from this book. I heard that this one's even better than the first one, which I can kind of see because even when thinking about other trilogies that I've read by Cassandra Clare, I end up liking the second and third book the best. Basically, it follows the same people from before, James Herondale, Cordelia, Lucy Herondale, and then like the Merry Thieves, all his friends and stuff, as they flit around London and kind of all the things that are going on in the Shadowhunter world. I'm about to tell a spoiler. At the end of Chain of Gold, Cordelia and James end up like getting married, and so that was a really big deal because obviously Cordelia is in love with James, but James, he thinks he's in love with Grace, and Grace is just the worst. Anyways, this book follows them again, and apparently Lucy is trying to resurrect Jesse, which is Grace's brother that's dead, which is a hot ass mess right there. And then Cordelia is being burned by her own sword, Cortana. Which, what is going on? I need to know. And then James thinks he's in love with, what's her name? His grandfather is the demon guy. Ugh, I forgot all about that, dude. I forgot. It's a mess. It's a mess. Also, there's a serial killer. So, there's that. That's a little rundown of kind of what's going to go on in this book. So I hope you guys keep watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe if you want similar content to this. So please comment and like so that our engagement could go up. We really appreciate that. So let's keep going. Chain of Iron is out, and I just got it in the mail. So let's open her up. Let's open her up. Ooh, okay, that's scary. Okay, here she is. Ooh, she's blue. Oh my god. Oh my god. I love this one more than I love the cover for Chain of Gold. And I love this cover. Like, look at how beautiful. But this is stunning. So here she is. Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Last Hours trilogy. I have no words, honestly. I want to be sharing my thoughts throughout the video. I'm going to keep it spoiler free, although I probably will say stuff like about Chain of Gold. So if you haven't read Chain of Gold, then I would recommend reading this before watching this video. Like, why are you here? I'm excited to be reading this in my free time when I get a chance. I'm on the first page. Like, chapter 1 hasn't started. It is the preface. And the first line says, "It was strange and novel to have a human body again." I mean, we know who we're talking about, right? Like, is this, okay, this could be a couple of things, right? It could be Belial coming back and either possessing James or Lucy, because that was his like whole goal for the last book, was he was like, hey yo, I want to possess a body so I can walk the earth. Or this could be, I think it has to be Belial, because I was thinking maybe it could be Jesse, but like the very next line says to feel the wind stirring his hair. So why would Jesse be like, unless Jesse's gonna take the form of a different body? No, because they have his body. All right, let's read. I'm sorry. What? Okay, so maybe this isn't Belial. Maybe this is something else. What does this mean? I'm thinking thoughts, you know what I mean? Because I've read so many of these books, and I'm just trying to like piece together the family lineage in my brain. All right, I'm gonna read for another like 5 minutes, and then I literally haven't eaten, so I need to eat. Hey friends, little update here. I am on page 376. I just started part 2, and I am annotating along the way and thinking thoughts. I'm making connections. What I love most about all of this is having read all of Cassandra Clare's books, and because they're out of order in a way, like this takes place like the 1900s, the trilogy that came out before this one took place in like modern time, and because it's all the same families, you're getting to see, you know, like their ancestors and decisions that they made and how that affects like later generations, and just like having the knowledge, you know what I mean? So it's just honestly so much fun. I have a lot of red moments in here. We got a lot of red tabs, and that's because of all the times where Grace shows up, and I just want to like, I hate her. And like, I feel for her. But even though like we get a lot of insight into like why Grace is the way she is, and like, I don't care. Like, that's the thing. I could care less about this girl and her struggles, because she's just like not a nice person, like at all. Like, she doesn't even try to be. Like, that's the whole point. Like, I think that's why I don't like her, is like she doesn't even try to be better or like to do anything else, and it's like, you're trash. But there's a lot of things going on, so many different characters. I already like this book so much more than I like the Chain of Gold book. Like, I like this so much more. I feel like the characters are a lot more dynamic, and I also feel like we're not switching as much between characters. I feel like the Chain of Gold book, like, I feel like I just had a lot of chapters where I was like, I really could care less about these other side people. I feel like we don't have that as much in this book. Anyways, I'm excited to go on. I think, honestly, I'm going to end it here for tonight, because I've been reading like all day, and yeah, good night. And I will probably honestly finish this book tomorrow, because I have 300 pages left. I'm like halfway through, so I'm so ready to be done and to have all the things. I'm gonna know so much, and I'm pumped. Anyways, that's it for tonight. Good morning. I have been reading for like 2 hours now, and I'm on page 516. So I'm almost done, and it's absolutely insane. Everything that's happening, I'm so shook. I don't know how any of this is going to like even get remotely wrapped up in like 100 pages. We just found out who has been murdering everyone, which is a nightmare. It's insane. It's insane. I love it. It's so good. I can't wait. I'm gonna finish it today, and then I'll give like my final thoughts at the end of the video. Just so many things have just like come together just from like other books, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember that, and it's coming back, or like this is where it started and we see it again later on in the other books. It's insane. I'm so shocked. Anyways, all right, I'll update later. That's what's going on. It's crazy. Hey friends, so I'm going to be talking to you about my final thoughts on Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I was going to try to keep it spoiler free, but honestly, am I going to be able to? So if you haven't read Chain of Iron, I would highly recommend that you click off the video now, just because I probably will be giving some spoilers on how this ended, everything that kind of went on. It's going to be very brief, so I'm not going to get into like very big details, but just some like little things that I really liked about the book, and yeah, what I'm excited for the third book. So let's get in. So first, let's talk about Lucy. Lucy, my girl Lucy. She just like has too many secrets. I mean, she's not even telling Cordelia, who is like going to be her parabatai one day, everything that's been going on, like her falling in love with Jesse, the ghost, and her working with Grace to try to resurrect him, and everything with Malcolm Fade, and like her dealings with him, and everything that she's learned about, you know, his whole ordeal with, I mean, if you've read Queen of Air and Darkness or The Dark Artifices at all, you kind of like know what I'm alluding to, but we get that in this book, and like she has all of these things that are going on. She's able to command the dead, she's able to do all this stuff, and she's not telling anyone, and it really isolated her a lot in this book, and I just felt so bad for her. All right, what else do I want to touch on? I want to touch on James and how he's a hot mess. Like, not gonna lie, I love him. I liked him a lot better than I did in the first book. The first book, I just was like tired of him, and I thought he was kind of annoying. But in this book, like, I feel like I really fell in love with him. It's just like his interactions with Cordelia, and like as a married couple, just like seeing how they really just like complement each other in so many ways, and they bring out the best in each other, and I love that so much. But then when we get to all the red parts with Grace, like her just like, she would just walk in a room and I'm just like, oh Lord, this girl again, you know what I mean? I was so annoyed. But obviously he's still under her spell, although he does seem to be breaking it on his own, just like as he spends more time with Cordelia and realizing that, like, I mean, his love for Cordelia is way stronger than any like fictitious and fabricated love that Grace is trying to make with him. So I think that's really sweet as well. We get to see a lot of those moments where he like remembers the bracelet, and I'm like, take that thing off. And then at the end when it breaks, because he's like so in love with Cordelia, and it's just crazy. But then of course, you know, we have to have some type of like something in the middle, and Cordelia thinks that he's still in love with Grace, even though he was putting on a show, but like she didn't know that. And then she leaves with Matthew, which, can we just talk about Matthew for a second? I feel for him, like, not gonna lie. I feel for my boy Matthew, but he needs therapy. And like, I don't want to try to romanticize him or his relationship with Cordelia or just like anything like that, because I think he needs to take care of himself. He obviously has a really bad drinking problem, and it's an issue. And I mean, I know that he thinks that he loves Cordelia, but I just think he got to take care of himself first before he tries to like pursue anything with Cordelia. And I really hope that them going to Paris at the end isn't going to be a big thing, because honestly, I don't want to hear it. You know, in the next book, like, I don't want to see her falling in love with him, because I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I'm just like kind of tired of the whole like love triangle thing where it's like the two parabatais and then falling in love with one girl. Like, I mean, can we get any more infernal devices up in here? Like, let's just leave that away and say no to that. Also, do we think Jesse's coming back? I mean, it seems like he's dead, but then again, Lucy did say that she still felt like his presence inside, and he was going with Malcolm Fade and Lucy and Grace to see if like they can actually resurrect him. So maybe in the third book we'll actually see that, like him coming back to life, and maybe that's where it kind of, this is a spoiler for Queen of Air and Darkness, maybe this is where it starts for Malcolm Fade, him realizing that this is possible and that he could probably resurrect, you know, his girl Annabelle. Anyways, maybe that's where it starts. So we'll see, I guess, in the next book how that kind of plays out. I think that's going to be kind of insane. Obviously, everyone just found out that Lucy can command the dead, which is a really big deal because we saw her like completely destroy that one man that put the spells on Jesse when he was a baby. So there was just so many things that happened in this book. I mean, honestly, she was like 650 something pages. She was huge. Oh, I loved obviously Cordelia and James, but honestly, I think my favorite romance in this whole thing has been Thomas and Alistair, because I love to see those sweet little sides of Alistair and to see his true character come out, because I feel like he's just had to put up this wall and kind of had to protect himself and Cordelia a lot from their father, and through that has really hardened himself, not excusing how he acted towards the boys at school, like not excusing that at all. He's wrong for that, and like they are totally valid in not liking him, but I'm all here for a redemptive arc, you know what I mean? I'm always here for it. So I'm really excited just to see if Alistair and Thomas's relationship flourishes. This is really interesting, especially just like homosexuality during this time. It's really, really interesting. I really like that Cassandra Clare is really branching out there and including more more types of voices. So that's really good. I'm excited about Thomas and Alistair. Although at the end, Alistair, he's just dumb, you know what I mean? And he just was like, it's not gonna happen. And I was like, but it is gonna happen. And that's that. Because you need to stop being a jerk, period. Like, that's what I have to say about that, Alistair. Stop being a jerk and get it together. So that's that with them. I'm trying to think of anything else that I really wanted to talk about. Oh, Cordelia and her being a paladin. I really should have looked up these words before I tried to pronounce them. And she thought that was going to be like great because she wanted to be a, you know, she wants to be a hero, she wants to be a warrior, and she wants to be like, she wants to help people. And she thought that she was doing it for Waylon the Smith. He created Cortana. She thought that that's where she was going, but then it turned out to be Lilith. And I was so mad at the end, but also it just shows how strong Cordelia is because she was able to fight against Lilith at the end when she was telling her to cut down both James and Lucy, and Cordelia was like, no. So I guess we'll see also how that plays out later, because now we know that Lilith could literally call on her like at any time, and she just has to do what Lilith says. I feel bad for Cordelia because I know this is going to be a really big thing for her, and she's going to feel like, I mean, she even said like, I don't want to touch any knives, I don't want to fight and stuff, because she could be dangerous potentially to her friends and to her family. So that makes me sad. But I know that in the end, they're going to figure it out somehow. I don't know how, but I think Cortana's going to somehow overcome. We'll see. I think Cortana's going to come through in the end. I'm really excited just about everything that's going to come with the next book. I really liked this book. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really do feel like it really pulled it out, especially towards the end with that half star, because the characters were just so much more dynamic. There was so much more growth here. We got to learn so much just about different aspects of the world. Like, I mean, I've been reading how many of these books? Like, there's so many books already. Like, we have the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, the Dark Artifices. We had the little novellas in between. Like, I know so much about this world, and yet with every book, I learn even more. And just like little things about different families, or just like even like just like the different demons. Like, I didn't even know about the Prince of Hell like that much until, you know, these books. And so it's just been really interesting. Also, just like learning about Cortana, because obviously we see Cortana in the other books, and it's just been really cool just to see Cordelia wield a sword and all the history behind that. It's just really cool. And so that's why I really feel like this book was such a great middle book. I'm really happy that I read it, and I'm excited for book 3. I know that I'm gonna love it even more than I loved the first 2. I think that's gonna be the end for this reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Let me know, again, your thoughts in the comments on where you think the series is going and what you're most excited for. What characters do you love the most? So, yeah, let me know what you guys think below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!